What's going on, everybody? It's Rich Perez welcoming you back into another weekly dose of the Rundown. Of course, joined in with me as always, my co-host, my brother from another, all the way from the O, Kayson Davis. How you doing, Kay?
I'm doing fine today. How you doing?
Doing real good, man. I just love how they hooking you up with the fly gear, bro. I'm very envious, very jealous.
I wouldn't say they're hooking me up, but yeah, you
Um,
know.
I got you. I've been there. Definitely been there. Man. What a week. What a week of sports since we last left you guys. We are going to start this show with the topic that we always have to talk about around this time of year. It's the gift that keeps on giving. The New York Football Giants and the New York Jets are both 0-3. Which one of these teams is worse? We'll never know. We'll know that they are both truly bad. So as far as the Jets go, I mean, we kind of knew they were going to lose to the Broncos. They just look hopeless out there. They're a bad football team, but I think what's really bad about the Jets is you have this quarterback who is talented based on what we've seen and the analysis of the kid. But what has to be remembered, and we said this last week, is he is a rookie. Now, here's the problem. Rookies, their success in many sports, but definitely in the NFL, has to do with where you land and who's there to cultivate you. And unfortunately for Zach Wilson, he's just with a franchise that, no shade, just not, they're not good, and Robert Saleh can do a lot of things to try and get him ready, but he just doesn't look ready. He looks, he's flat-footed at times, moving around a little too much, holding on to the ball a little too much, rookie things, but he's doing it too much. And then this goes into affecting your confidence, and then that will in turn turn into something where we can say he didn't become the quarterback we thought he was going to be. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but knowing what you know about the Jets, lack of weapons, no offensive line, defense isn't very good. I mean, they got C.J. Mosley over there, but that's about it. What are we thinking here?
For the Jets, I think it's more the same from what we talked about for last week. Even last week, we said we don't know when they possibly be able to get a win. And I think we predicted in a couple weeks against the Falcons, but it's more of the same that we've been talking about. They kind of don't have the weapons to help quarterbacks out there. Even the same thing that was happening with Sam Darnold last year, and they kind of need to get that whole roster and get the things together. So it's easy to blame the quarterback and him being a rookie and different things like that. But I think if you look over the years, the Jets have shown they just haven't put a quality product on the court, to especially help their quarterbacks be successful. So you add that with a rookie quarterback in a tough situation. College, he probably didn't play maybe the top competition either. So he, as you can see, the talent is probably there, and that's why he got taken so high. But he's just in a tough situation right now with the Jets.
It's not getting any easier. They're playing the Titans on Sunday, so there's that. Let's move on here because we're not staying on these topics. It's been a lot of years of us doing these, and we're tired of talking about it, but we have to talk about it. The New York Football Giants. The New York Football Giants fall to 0-3 after losing in just not a competitive game. Two bad football teams playing each other, just finding ways to lose football games. They lose to the Falcons, who aren't a good team. And this is the team that we said that the Giants should get a win against. If they don't win, then the season's over because they have a gauntlet of a schedule the rest of the way after this. And I'm tired of hearing people say, they were right there. They'd be 2-1 if a couple plays went different. You know what, man? We have been saying this about the Giants for 4 years. It's every year we say this. If they did this, they'd be right there. If they would have did this, they'd be right there. This isn't new. All these playmakers you spent the money on, you added pieces to the defense. Guess what? They did it in 2016, their last successful season, took second in the division, lost first round to the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs. And then after that, you had plenty of weapons following that. But it was the same story every time. Excuse me. First, it was the 2017 season. Everybody gets hurt. Oh, we'll be back. I was on board with that. The 2018 season comes around. What happens? You got all this talent. Odell Beckham Jr. You drafted Saquon Barkley second overall. You got Sterling Shepard, right? What happened with it though? A top 6 pick that turned into Daniel Jones out of Duke, and then the following year, 2019, Daniel Jones unseeds Eli Manning as the starting quarterback. Gets fans a little riled up because we didn't want him. Then we're like, oh, he's not that bad. No, he's not that great either. He has some intangibles, but he's really not that great. I got a couple things to get off my chest here, ladies and gentlemen, so I apologize if I go on a rant. Please stick with me, though. Like I said, same thing every year. They had weapons in those seasons I was talking about. They moved on from a bunch of guys because culture. So they get a bunch of new guys, weapons. It's the year Daniel Jones is back. This is the year, the prove it year for him. Let's keep it rocking. And it's the same old story. And for everybody that keeps coming out here saying, well, he played really well against the Washington football team, I got news for you. Since Daniel Jones entered the league, the one consistent thing that he has always done is play well against the Washington football team. Then you say, oh, look, he played really well, looked great against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are not a good football team. I want to see Daniel Jones do these things against top defenses, against good football teams. How's he going to react when pressure's in his face? We want to see progress. So they're playing the New Orleans Saints in week 4, right? The New Orleans Saints are 2-1. They embarrassed the Green Bay Packers in week 1. And now they're actually first true home game. They're back in New Orleans, and the Giants are going over there. They went on this whole press thing. Did you see it? New white pants. We're supposed to get excited about new white pants with red streaks, man. So we're fly, because what do they say? When you look good, you feel good, right? Look good, feel good, play good. It ain't happening though. That Saints defense is real, and that's honestly the Saints calling card, because their offense is kind of in limbo right now. They're still trying to get things figured out a bit. The Giants are going to get taken to the woodshed. I think Daniel Jones throws a pick in this game. I think that he probably fumbles during the game at least once, because that's what Daniel Jones does. And Evan Ingram's back. I gotta add you to this case on. We got a New York Football Giants chat. And shout out to my guys. I remember Shad's in there. My boy Randy, Alvin, Toast. Shout out Toast. They're all in there. And I remember we had we preseason conversation, just like a weird things at. And I've been shaky on Evan Ingram because I think Evan Ingram's a talent. But Evan Ingram I'm going to be the first one to say it because I don't think anybody's really said it. Evan Ingram and Daniel Jones have the same exact problem. They fumbled the ball. So I know I'm getting off on a tangent here. They're going to lose this game. I'm seriously questioning whether the Giants can win a game this year. They lose a pitiful game like that against the Atlanta Falcons on Eli Manning Day. The only thing we as Giants fans had to look forward to was that Eli Manning's jersey got retired. I could say more, but I'm going to give you the floor.
I think they'll get a win.
Against who?
I would have to look at the schedule, but the only confidence that you could maybe see for them or have for them right now is, I guess, 2 things. One, the Jets are just as bad, so that's good. But 2, they started off this bad last season, so you think obviously you don't want to repeat old habits or bad habits, and you don't want to make this a habit and keep doing things like that. But you started off bad last season. They was able to turn around and had a shot to make it into the playoffs. in the last game of last season. So if you think they started off bad this year, obviously, like I said, you don't want to start off that bad. You got some new weapons. Obviously, you saw Galladay and Daniel Jones out there arguing. So there's some people who need to get used to each other. Saquon Barkley's back, so maybe you think when they get things rolling a little bit, they can go on a run like last year and kind of create some of the same magic. That's the only hope you maybe see right now, but I think they'll get a couple wins in here eventually.
I'm going to quote you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They have a gauntlet of a schedule down the stretch. Now, the blue glass, the blue shaded glasses are off. They're completely off. There's 4 teams in the division. They're the 4th best team in the division. Like, I see that now. They're the worst team in the NFC least. The Cowboys are better than them. The Eagles are better than them. And they just lost, even though it was close, they just lost to Washington. Those teams are better than them. They haven't played either the Cowboys or Eagles yet. They will lose to both of those teams. And when they play the Washington football team the second time around, I think that something will go wrong. Because I heard Dan Orlovsky say this on ESPN radio. They're kind of in this space, and it's been happening for so long. They find ways to lose games, and it's just kind of when we've all played sports here, so we can all relate. You're kind of sitting on the sideline, and you're not thinking who's going to be the guy that makes the play to keep it going. You're thinking who's going to be the guy to lose this game for us. That's kind of what it looks like when they play every Sunday. And oh, by the way, like they're not coached well. Like, I'm even kind of starting to fall off the Joe Judge train a little bit. He says a lot of really good things. He got a little defensive over some reporters asked him if he was scared to go for it on 4th down. And, he said some nice things about how he doesn't live life based on fear. He fears nothing and all that. Joe Judge has been the coach of the Giants for 2 years now, going on 2 years. I have never once seen Joe Judge go for it on 4th down. There was so many opportunities where he could go for it on 4th down and situations where you really need to go for it on 4th down if you want any chance of winning the game, and he just wouldn't do it, maybe you just don't trust the offense or what. He has a tough decision to make. Jason Garrett is not a creative play caller. He's terrible. He is terrible. I don't know if you want. This is why the Cowboys fired him as head coach. And you know me. People like to say, "Oh, like look what he's doing as an OC here." And I'm always like, sometimes people that are really good coordinators just aren't good head coaches. Jason Garrett's not good at either.
We gotta talk about this when he first got hired, and I said that the hope that you had there is that maybe he was motivated to become a head coach again, and that'll kind of motivate him to do better and want to become a head coach again. But I don't know what kind of was going on with the Giants. I don't say I'm off the Joe Judge train right now. I think that he still has some time. I think the way last season ended, he deserves a little more time to maybe to show that he can maybe turn this thing around. Like I said, obviously, it seemed like a trend of where he gets his teams off to bad starts. But if he can end the season kind of close to what he did last year and maybe get the ball rolling a little earlier and learn from some of his mistakes from last year, I think we will look back on it kind of like we did last year and say maybe we panicked a little too early. Like I said, there's still some weapons out there that are getting used to each other. Daniel Jones is getting used to Saquon Barkley again. Then there's Galloway now on the team, different things like that. So there's still some things that need to be worked out a little bit. And hopefully he can get it together. But like I said, he has maybe shown us right now that he doesn't get his team off the good starts. But that may be what he needs to motivate him to help him turn things around.
When I said he has a tough decision to make, I don't know if he'll do it, but he needs to fire Jason Garrett. Like that's
mid-season.
And it ain't even mid-season; it's still early season.
In the season, yeah.
Bad. We've seen it because we had the same complaints last year. They don't do anything. It's like they're playing in the 90s or something. They don't do anything innovative. Like you can see the plays coming from a mile away. They have all these great weapons, right? But what did Cameron say in Paid in Full? What's the use of having soldiers if you don't use them?
Yeah.
What is going on? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I am fully prepared to get rid of Jason Garrett and promote Freddie Kitchens to be offensive coordinator. You remember Freddie Kitchens, the one time the guy went from like one of wide receivers coach to offensive coordinator to head coach in like 3 months, and then he was a terrible head coach. But his job as an offensive coordinator with the Browns wasn't bad. I think Baker Mayfield went from 6.5 yards per attempt to about 9.5. So I think that if you want to get rid of somebody, and the complaint is oh, you don't want to make something a firing like that during the season. Hire from within. We've seen what he can do, albeit in a limited capacity, but we've seen what Freddie Kitchens can do as an offensive coordinator. I'll tell you another one that was interesting to me that I heard from Keyshawn Johnson. Todd Haley. Todd Haley has been great. But one of Ben Roethlisberger's best seasons in the NFL was with Todd Haley as his offensive coordinator. Todd Haley's been a very good offensive coordinator everywhere he's been, even with the Browns when he was over there in Baker Mayfield's rookie season. He was doing some good stuff over there with Tyrod Taylor and Baker Mayfield. And he doesn't have a job right now. You know, like that dude is right there for the pickings as an offensive coordinator. Those are just two people that show you a resume that seems to work in the modern NFL. But that's just my 2 cents. But I think it's time to clean house. You know, you don't have to blow it up. I'm still a component of that. You do not have to blow up this team. But Dave Gettleman has a extremely subpar record with the Giants. He's batting well under 500. He's got to go. Got to go.
I think that change has been right. Like the writing's been on the wall for that.
Okay, he's got to go. Jason Garrett. If you're going to keep Joe Judge, and I'm not mad at that if you want to keep him, but Jason Garrett, got to go. Got to go. And change has got to be made, man. John Mara needs to wake up and stop trying to do this old good old boys traditional act. It's a new day. You're not the Giants way thing. It's not working. We are tired of it. We are tired of it as fans. It hurt. Sometimes I don't even watch the games on Sundays. Like it's just bad. And yeah. Oh, and one more thing, man, before I give you the floor on this. Here are my takes on what they should do if they don't keep Daniel Jones, which I'm kind of off that one too. They could trade for Deshaun Watson if everything clears out, because they do have draft capital to make that happen. And I have heard that the Texans are easing up on their expectations for what they can get now. You can get Aaron Rodgers. We've said this throughout the show. The 49ers are looking like Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out of there soon. I think, if possible, I don't know if you heard about this kid, Matt Corral from Ole Miss. This kid is like the front runner for the Heisman right now. He's leading college football in yards per passing. I like heard of him, and then I started checking out the film. He's legit. You want to go like an Eli Manning route, which is ironic because Eli Manning went to Ole Miss. You want to go that route, draft this kid, and then bring Jimmy Garoppolo in to kind of be your starter, But I wouldn't want it to go the same way, though. Where Kurt Warner's our starter, and then, 3 games in, we just bench him for Eli Manning. Like, I want Garoppolo to be the starter. But I think that that's something to think about, too, bringing Garoppolo, where you kind of see how things are going with that. If you're not going to go Rodgers or Deshaun Watson, you get the young quarterback you want, and then you have an established guy to groom him.
I agree with a lot of things that you said there. Obviously, with the changes that need to be made. Like I said, the writing's been on the wall kind of for Gettleman. I think if the season keeps going how it's going, then yeah, I agree with the Jason Garrett thing. It's just interesting to see how much kind of, I don't want to say hype, but how much excitement we had for the season, to think about the weapons that were out there and just the possibilities that they can do. And now we're 3 weeks in, and it's time to blow it up again. So that's kind of how it's been going for Giants football and Giants fans and things like that. But also, what you said, I think Aaron Rodgers is at the top of my list. I think if you can get him, I think that's. Yeah, definitely. That's the number one. that I would try to do and get Aaron Rodgers out there. And obviously Deshaun Watson, like you said, if everything clears out, but we still don't know that situation. But my full focus would be on Aaron Rodgers. And I like that backup plan, getting Garoppolo and getting that young guy out of Ole Miss and see how that turns out. But I think number one, and I think it's like number one, where it's like all tricks in one hat, is go out to Aaron Rodgers and kind of make sure you get him. And then when we talked about it last week, that can bring you other players that want to come there and just different things like that. So I think that's number one. And I guess maybe getting Gettleman out of there is number one. And then number two is definitely Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, their way of doing things is not it. Even like we're gonna move on from here in a second, but like even just look at why they hired these guys. Why did they hire Dave Gettleman? Because he used to work for the Giants under Ernie Accorsi. So we know him. He was the GM of the Carolina Panthers when they went to the Super Bowl, but for whatever reason, people don't. Dave Gettleman did not build the Carolina Panthers team that went to the Super Bowl. He inherited a lot of that. He didn't draft Cam Newton. He didn't draft a few of those guys. So you put an asterisk on that when it comes to his resume. But same thing, Patriots way with Joe Judge. I'm not saying that to kill Joe Judge. I'm just saying the way that they do things is just, it makes no sense in today's day and age. Like, they just don't want to get with the times.
Yeah, and I see Tim's in the comments. He said he would like Deshaun Watson since he's a young gun. But the thing with Watson is you kind of.
I would take Deshaun Watson in a heartbeat. Deshaun Watson. Look, here's the truth about Deshaun Watson as a quarterback. Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes' talent levels are neck and neck. They're right there with each other. I don't have an issue with that. The only reason that the Houston Texans were in the playoffs as many times as they were was solidly because of Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson is there for the taking, pull the trigger. I'm just saying he's got a lot going on right now. And then this is also me being realistic on how John Mara and the Giants do business. That just doesn't seem like something that they're going to touch. It would be a good thing, a great thing for the franchise to do. But based on the history of how they do things, I just couldn't see it happening. But I would love it. I would get a number 4 jersey in a heartbeat.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of teams would try to go after him. Like you're saying, he has a lot going on there, and that's kind of why everything is what it is. And honestly, I think Houston would try to keep him if everything wasn't going on there. But obviously, he asked to get out of there. But Deshaun Watson, his problem right now is not on the field. It's off the field. So, obviously, he'll be great to get to. I still may put Aaron Rodgers over him. Even though Aaron Rodgers is a little older, you go for it for a couple years. And then they seem like they want to take the draft route anyway. So, you can get Aaron Rodgers go for a couple years.
Let's speak it into existence. Arch Manning, the nephew of Eli and Peyton Manning, is in 10th grade right now. Get Aaron Rodgers. We can go out and compete for Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers. And then when his time is up, we'll probably be bad, have a top pick, and then draft Arch Manning to be the next franchise quarterback of the New York Giants. What does that sound like?
It sounds perfect. And you know what they say, history repeats itself. So maybe he'll pull an Eli Manning and force his way to the Giants.
I think he's better than both. He's going to be better than both of them. He's more athletic than both of them. He can run with the ball. His passing game is insane. He's just advanced, man. He's actually coming out here. He's actually coming out here to Austin to check out a Longhorns game. The kid's in 10th grade and he's already getting the under the table recruiting going on from the nation's top schools.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to be great. And obviously, with things like that, the younger brother, family member is supposed to be better because they get to learn from what you did and from you guys' mistakes and just having that advantage of having people who's been there before. But it's a little too early for me. He's in 10th grade, and those are Hall of Famers. But yeah, obviously, you hope for the best, and obviously the talent's there.
Well, you mentioned going the Aaron Rodgers route to try and do something similar to Tampa. Let's go ahead and move on to Tampa. Um, they played the America's Game of the Week on Fox on Sunday against the Rams, and they got handled. And I'm here to say right now, along with a lot of people that have already said it, I agree. The Rams are the best team in football right now. I said it on this show when they made the move for Matthew Stafford that they were going to be Super Bowl contenders. And I am super confident right now that they're going to the Super Bowl. Because if you know Matthew Stafford, if you really watch Matthew Stafford, and I made the jokes, the Pat Stafford jokes, but honestly, Matthew Stafford is up there with the Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers of the world. Like he is that talented. But he played for the Detroit Lions, an abysmal franchise that never gave him anything while he was there. So he dealt with a lot of injuries and a lot of losing. And now he's in the perfect situation. So I wasn't shocked that they went out and did that against Tampa. I also feel bad for the guy that did the Fox betting, and all he needed was Tampa to win by 7 points, and he would have been a millionaire. But the Rams, man, like, yeah, they're going to the Super Bowl.
I could I would agree with you right now. Obviously, the Chiefs haven't looked the same.
Chiefs are in
As,
last place, K. The Chiefs
yeah,
are in last place in their division.
I still expect them to turn it around, but like I said, they haven't looked the same right now. So then obviously Tampa's up there and different things like that. So right now I would definitely agree with you that the Rams are there and that they have a good shot to make it to the Super Bowl right now. I think obviously a lot of things can change later on. I think that the Chiefs are still turn things around. I think the Bucks are just talking about signing Richard Sherman or something like that or working them out. So a lot of things can
No,
change right now.
they signed him.
Oh, they did sign him. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, a lot of things can change right now, but I still expect the Chiefs to be able to get back in there, and I think they'll be a threat.
AFC West is a tough division, man. All those teams are like the Chargers have taken a step forward. So that was another thing when I knew that was going to be a tough game for the Chiefs, and I wasn't surprised that the Chargers were able to pull away with the win. Justin Herbert's another guy that I think is going to be special. But that either the way the Raiders are playing, amazing. You got the Chiefs, you got a lot of good things happening over there right now. So I agree that they're going to turn it around. Like they're not going to have a terrible season. Like they're not going to have a top 10 pick in the draft. But with the way the rest of the division is, like it's not no cakewalk. Like they might not win that division. It's possible that they might not finish top three because I like this, man. Chris Broussard was on First Things First and said they're the Brooklyn Nets of the NFL. They have this amazing offense and they can't stop anyone on defense.
That's a that's a very great point. I think we kind of talked about it last week about them having that great offense and how that can overtake things and things like that. But I think they'll get it together. It's early, go through the little ups and downs. I think they'll be all right.
Right, right. Um, so I have to get into this, man. Tom Brady returning to Foxborough to play for the first time since leaving against the New England Patriots. It's Bill Belichick versus Tom Brady. And I can say that because Bill Belichick's a defensive mind. So how's he going to scheme up to stop with Tom Brady? This is the first time like he's going to really play against Tom Brady. Um, yeah, man. What are your thoughts? Like he's probably going to get the crazy standing ovation when he gets over there.
Yeah, I think obviously I think the Bucks are gonna win the game. Obviously, I think Bill Belichick could try to draw up something to stop Tom Brady, but I think the Bucks are just a better team right now. I think he'll get a standing ovation. I think if he went back last year, depending, it would have been a more like a him versus Belichick thing. But I think after him going out and winning the Super Bowl, I think it's kind of I don't want to say they're past it, but they're kind of like they are appreciating his greatness now. So it's less of a like him versus Belichick type of thing. It's gonna be interesting. Obviously, all eyes are gonna be on how those two guys interact with each other and different things like that. Like I said, I expect the Bucks to win, but it's gonna be entertaining for the off the court stuff. Like I said with him and Belichick, and then let's see how the fans react. We all expect the fans to cheer him on. But maybe there was some people who still on Belichick's side, and maybe he gets a couple boos and things like that. But like I said, I think him winning that Super Bowl and that run last year lessened the blow. If he went back last year, it'd have been like, okay, whose side are you on? But I think now it's like, all right, you just got to appreciate greatness.
Did you get to watch Sunday Night Football, Packers Niners last Sunday?
The Packers, yes, I watched most of it. I believe I might have fell asleep.
So that game was super, super entertaining, right? The Packers were like passing the test early. They went out and scored. They were up by, it was a 2-score game early, and then the Niners came and stormed back to make it close. In the second half, third quarter. A very good game. Very, very, very good game. Super entertaining to watch. It was a rematch of the NFC Championship from 2 years ago. And we had all the questions of, can they stop that? Because the Niners went to the Super Bowl just off the straight run game. Can they stop that run? And they were able to do that, man. The game was just like a circus. Shout out to the NFL because there has, as far as prime time games go, they haven't missed in 3 weeks. They haven't missed. Everything has just been entertaining as can be. But this game, man, my two things to pick from it were the officiating in this game was awful. The penalties that they were calling. Devontae Adams got like rammed. That was a targeting call all day, helmet to helmet. He was just laying there. He looked like his bell definitely got rung. He was laying there for a little bit. No flags. That's a flag all day, but no flags. And then when the Niners get the ball back, they call tripping against the Packers after missing that. Now, when you've seen it in the NBA, usually when they miss a call, they'll make up for it by not calling something else on the other team. This was just crazy to me to see that. And then on the other side of things, Aaron Rodgers. No. Let me not get ahead of myself. I'll save that for after. I want to talk about Mike LaFleur. We just talked about Joe Judge being scared to take risks, not going for it on fourth down. Matt LaFleur. Mike LaFleur is his brother, the offensive coordinator for the Jets. LaFleur was ridiculed for not going forward on fourth in the NFC Championship last year and the year before that. Like he wouldn't do it at all. The game was super close. And it's like what we said when the Ravens played the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football the week prior. They said we're not giving the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. We're going for it on fourth, and it paid off. Why would you give the ball back to the Niners in a crucial spot like that when it's razor close and all they need is a field goal to beat you? And it's exactly what happened. They went out, you drove right down the field, got a field goal to put them up by one with 37 seconds left. Now let me make my point. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest talent at quarterback that I have ever seen in my life. It took Aaron Rodgers 37 seconds to put the Packers in field goal range, and Matt Crosby kicks it to put them up and end the game. And by the way, this is who the Packers are letting go after the season's over.
Yeah, that's why I just told you that the Giants should do all they can to get him. He's been one of the most talented quarterbacks for a while now. Didn't he win MVP last year? So he's still playing at a high level. And we talked about, and Tim brought up Deshaun Watson. That's why, like I said, I was Giants. I'm going all in on this guy because he's just a all-world talent, still performing at a high level. And I think it's been reported how unhappy he kind of is with things going on over there, and he said it doesn't have anything to do with the coach. But I think there was a situation like this before where like they didn't go for it on fourth down. I think he got asked about it and different things like that. So he has been saving them for a while, and like I said, this season is just gonna be like they're gonna try to see the pressure's on them to kind of figure out what they want to do, and everyone's going to have their eyes on him to see if every little thing that happens like this, he doesn't go for it on fourth down, how Aaron Rodgers is going to react. It's going to be those things where it's like, all right, I'm out of here, so nothing even matters. Or they're going to try to go, or if they can try to make a run and maybe win it and maybe convince him to stay.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think anything's keeping him staying. Like him and Devontae Adams have kind of like let it be known that this is their last dance type of thing. They posted the Jordan Scotty things back to back on their Instagram accounts. So, it's Jordan Love. It's the Jordan Love era after this season, apparently. I mean, things could change, but it doesn't seem like that at the moment. Hmm. What other things I got on the docket?
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for the Packers. I think kind of like we was talking about, those two guys, just them two alone connecting, and their talent can win you a game like that. So next season, if Jordan Love, even if the Jordan Love can probably play great, he probably still not going to play at the level that Aaron Rodgers is playing at right now. So to go from having those two guys next year to not have those weapons on your team is it's got to be a big blow for them, and something they probably end up regretting.
Yeah, for sure. It's not going to be like one Brett Favre left. Like I haven't seen anything that says Jordan Love is the second coming of Aaron Rodgers. They kind of struck lightning in a bottle twice when you get Brett Favre for like a decade plus, and then Aaron Rodgers falls to you late in the first round in the draft. I just don't see that with Jordan Love. Not to say that he's not going to be a good quarterback. I could see him being a very good quarterback. I just not like level to Aaron Rodgers or anything like that.
Especially not right away. Now, I was gonna say, especially not right away, and that turnaround, how it's gonna be is Aaron Rodgers and this team probably get them into the playoffs and make a run for a championship. They're gonna go from that to maybe a top pick in the draft next year. That change is just gonna be ridiculous.
Definitely. I guess some other football tidbits I wanted to get at the Ravens Lions game was pretty fun to watch. The Lions aren't good, but they're not as bad as people making it seem. I saw Jay, friend of the show, actually like tweeted like I guess he thought that the Ravens were gonna lose, and he was like that the Ravens just weren't good. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say that exactly. But the Lions aren't that bad. Like Jared Goff's a good quarterback. Like he's gonna be a winner in this league. I don't know if he'll ever win a championship, but he was he was a conductor on that bus that went to the Super Bowl that year with the Rams. He's a good quarterback. And I actually kind of like their coach that they have now. They play hard for him. I like the things he does. They're just not a good team, but they've been in it so far with the teams that they've played against. And that was the case against the Ravens. Now let me get back to my point that I really wanted to harp on. I need you guys to stop disrespecting Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson he's at his own like 20, 25. And similar to Aaron Rodgers, goes out and makes plays, makes it happen to put them in field goal range. And then Justin Tucker breaks his own NFL record with a 66-yard field goal. Justin Tucker is a kicker Justin Tucker's going to the Hall of Fame. And then as far as Lamar goes, when I say stop disrespecting him, acknowledge that he makes plays with his arm too. He's not just a runner. Like he's dropping bombs. He's throwing dimes to these guys. And this is on a day when Hollywood Brown was dropping passes left and right. And this Ravens team is just, depleted with so much injury.
Yeah, well, I think we talked about this on here before. It's one of those things where like he had he's got stuck with something, and people kind of just hate him like for that. Obviously, like to use an example, like with Westbrook, a lot of people don't like Westbrook just off of things that maybe people talked about him in the past and different things like that. So even if they change those things around, even if he's making those plays, people are still going to try to be like, oh, well, he's not a great passer. Even if he does become a decent passer, people are still going to complain about that. And just because his style is so different. So it's kind of one of those things where like maybe later on in his career, when things maybe wind down a little bit, people are going to look back like, okay, maybe we didn't appreciate this guy as much. But it's just unfortunate because, like, when you get some of those type of things stuck with you, the haters are just going to keep that thing with you no matter what you do. He can make a big pass in the game, and they'll still be like, well, he's not a great passer. So they're always just going to keep harping on that same thing because that was the issue before.
Haters gonna hate. We talked last week about Justin Fields stepping in to be the starter for the Bears, and right, fire Matt Nagy right now. One of my complaints about Matt Nagy with Mitch Trubisky, the last time they went to the playoffs was with Mitch Trubisky as the starter. By the way, like he didn't have a bad year that year. You know, and Mitch Trubisky, my thing with all this was, you know what he can do and you know what he can't do. As a good coordinator, as a good coach, you put your quarterback in situations to excel. So you take what they're strong at and you roll with it. One of the reasons why Lamar has had so much success is early on, Harbaugh saw what he did well and what he didn't do well, and he put him in positions to just keep getting into doing what he does best. Mitch Trubisky was a guy that is a better runner than he is a better passer. You shouldn't be dropping back a ton of times to throw the ball. Let him run. Justin Fields he is a very good passer, but the other thing is he's a very good runner too. They did drop back passes like 30 times. What is wrong with you? With a five, a protection set of five. Like that was gonna do anything. Like, why are you not running the ball more? It was just insane. And then he comes out and says, "I can't tell you who the starting quarterback is going to be." It's your job to get this kid. They're like, "Oh, he's not ready." It's your job to get this kid ready. Not only have you not gotten him ready, but you've shown me once again that you're not going to do anything to work to your quarterback's strengths. You just have whatever vision in your head a quarterback is supposed to be, and you want to roll with it. And that's just not the game. Like you're telling me that not only you're not a good head coach, you're just not a good coach.
Yeah, well, everything you said. Obviously, your coach is supposed to put you in the best situations and play to your strengths as much as possible. And especially for a rookie quarterback, you need to be put in sometimes in those right situations, not knowing the league and different things like that. So his quarterback has to. I mean, his coach. It's on the coach to put him in those right situations, and I think it's also the coach's. The coach has to be the one to give him that confidence too. I think going back and forth and switching back and forth between the quarterbacks, and then even with like one of them getting hurt, still saying I don't know who's gonna be the quarterback, this and that. I think you gotta put him in the right spots and also build that confidence with him. I think he's not doing that for him, especially for a young quarterback. Those are two things he should be out there doing. It just seems like he's not able to do that right now. Maybe he's trying to do some tough love rookie type of thing situation, but that could go either way. Who knows? So not everyone could take the tough love, but we're gonna see how it goes moving forward. But like you said, the coach has to put him in the right spots and play to his strengths. That's what a coach does.
Yeah, and I don't know. He's wasted like championship contention with the Chicago Bears. Like that's a roster that's built to win, and because of his stubbornness. Like they could have won with Mitch Trubisky. I'm not a Super Bowl, but they could have like went far with him under center. If you would have just did the things that you would want a guy like Mitch Trubisky to do. Let him run, let him take off. He doesn't need to drop back and pass. That's not what he does. And just the fact that you're doing it all over again and you traded up to get this guy, like it just makes no sense. And when you say things like that, it's kind of like writing on the wall now. Like you're not the guy. You clearly not. I guess so. We early on we said how the AFC West is looking like one of the tougher divisions. We know that the NFC West is definitely one of, if not the toughest division of football. When you got the Arizona Cardinals, the 49ers, the LA Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks in there. Here's something that I think we haven't talked about enough, and I like when these things happen. The AFC North. The AFC North has the Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens, not in any particular order, Cincinnati Bengals, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers got pretty beat up by the Cincinnati Bengals the other day. Jamar Chase proving the doubters wrong when everybody was, talking nonsense about how he looked in training camp, that he was just dropping balls left and right. Pause. I mean, and then he goes out and on game days and then just shows and proves every time. So him and Joe Burrow, picking up where they left off in college. They actually play tomorrow against the Jaguars, even without T. Higgins and another piece that they lost. They should still be able to win that game. The AFC North is coming up, man. Like, and I didn't know if anybody could really say that when you know the history of some of those teams there, especially the Cleveland Browns. But not only are they coming up where like you're talking about all four teams possibly making playoff appearances, actually, or just being in the hunt, but are the Pittsburgh Steelers the worst team in that division now? The team that's been, the tradition of excellence, like the standard for success?
I mean, it's possible. Obviously, this is probably Big Ben's last season and things like that. But I think Mike Tomlin can turn things around, and people he always gets the best out of his team. So it's possible they could be the worst team in the division, but I don't think that is to say that they're a bad team, if you know what I mean. Like you just said, we are talking about how it's going to be a good division and how all those teams may be able to make the playoffs. So it's possible they could be the worst team in the division, but are they a bad team? I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely understand where you're coming from. It's weird too, because let me tell you a little quick give you guys a little quick fact. So gather around the table, boys and girls. Once upon a time, Tim Rooney owned the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Wellington Mara owned the New York Giants. They had children, and their children had children, and those children met each other and got married. I have motive to this. Just hear me out. So they're kind of connected at the hip because of that. Now, one thing that we said about the Giants is they kind of held on to Eli Manning a little too long, right? You had everybody, most people said, go take a quarterback. Instead, they took Saquon Barkley. The Pittsburgh Steelers did that with Big Ben. I've said for years now that Big Ben is kind of on a steady decline. Even when they were making the playoffs, I was saying that they should start thinking about a succession plan over there. Not that they might not have it. I mean, Mason Rudolph's not the answer. Dwayne Haskins, when they let him play with the ones in that last preseason game, kind of laid an egg. But I think you should still let him go out and play to see if he can be that guy. But yeah, they held on too long, and this is the product of it. You're seeing it.
Yeah, I don't blame him though, because it's one of those things where it's like you can say the same thing with the Lakers. Like maybe the Lakers held on to Kobe too long and they gave him magic, huh?
Drew Brees. The Saints held on to Drew Brees too long. Lucky enough they got Jameis over there.
Yeah, but it's one of those situations where like I understand. Like obviously maybe you held on for too long, but for as much as he did for the franchise and different things like that, if he still wants to play, then and maybe you sacrifice a little bit just to appreciate him and everything he did for the organization. So it could be a lose for them, but at least maybe later down the line, players will see how you treat your players and how you wouldn't just throw them to the curve when they're not doing nothing for you no more. So it could be a good thing, and maybe in the end it can come back to them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they still got a lot of football left to play. Like they're not bad, but like when you look at Ben and the fact that he's dealing with the injuries that he's dealing with right now, like it's just showing like he's past his prime. Like it's not an ideal situation, to be where they're at right now.
Yeah, but I think coming into the season, a lot of people maybe said that he was going to be past his prime anyway. So it's not nothing that they didn't expect. Obviously, they probably still believed in him with him being Big Ben and everything he's done. And then Big Ben has dealt with a lot of injuries throughout his career. So eventually, those things will catch up to him. So even though he's up there in age, he may be a little older than what he is.
He's the only one left. He's the only one left from that draft class. It was stars now. Before it was just quarterbacks. But Larry Fitzgerald's not playing right now. Like Eli Manning is retired. He's doing Monday Night Football on ESPN2 with Peyton. Phillip Rivers is, coaching high school football games, right? Like he's the last guy. He's the last of the Mohicans, like for real.
Yeah, and he, like I said, he dealt with a lot of injuries, so he may be a little older than what he actually is. And he's never been the excuse me. He's never been the fastest guy or anything like that. So obviously it's probably over for him. But I don't knock the Steelers for letting him go
Sending him on.
out. Yeah, letting him go on his farewell tour and send him out the way he's supposed to be. He did a lot for the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that it would be smart, not to say it's a lost season, and I don't know if Pittsburgh Steelers fans want to hear this, but they should start giving like Dwayne Haskins a look to see, all right, can we trust you to lead this team? Can we make you our QB1 in a year from now? Like, because I don't really see them going anywhere.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll be able to show you guys this, but so Jameis Winston is like one of the funniest characters in the NFL. I hope he sticks around for a long time just because of like the stuff that he does in pregame and all that. So, you got your pregame warm up and then like, the pregame huddle and the speech from one of the teammates. Jameis Winston is on the side during his speech, man. You can't pull it up, right, Kay?
I don't think so.
Probably be tough. He's on the side. You guys see, because I was talking. It was making its rounds on social media. He's on the side while they're doing the speech, and his teammates just like do it for the city. And he's ad-libbing everything. It was like when you're in church and the pastor's just spitting knowledge going off, and you're just like, yes, preach. Jameis Winston's there, just like put on for the city, play for your brothers, and then he puts his arm around one of his teammates, like I got his back, and then he's like, look at the man beside you, and then he just like goes down and looks straight at the dude's face. I don't know. It's better if you guys see it. It's a lot more funnier, but that was just, man, like, man, that was good stuff. Love Jameis. Hope he's around for a while. Dude's out here winning games too, like throwing multiple touchdowns and only throwing for like 150 yards, no picks. Shout out to him. I know it's not the 200, 300 yard games we're hoping for, but he still finds a way to throw a bomb or two, and it gets it done. They only had that one whiff against the Carolina Panthers. I mean, even like, I know Sean Payton was mad about it, but like he was getting tackled mid-tackle. He just throws the ball into the end zone where you're like, oh man, here's the pick. A pick is coming, and then his wide receiver catches it for a touchdown.
Yeah, well, we always knew, like, even before Drew Brees left, that the Saints' defense was going to be great. So that's good. And then James Winston, like we said all the time, he's a good, bad quarterback. So with that defense over there, and then if he can play at least more good than he has been bad, then I think that you figured that situation will probably be all right. Now maybe it's been a lot of good, so that's good, and hopefully he can keep that going forward. But like you said, he was like a good bad quarterback. So I don't want to say I'm not too surprised. I'm a little surprised, but if you really think about it, the Saints defense was good, and he's a good quarterback. And then you think about putting him over there. He learned under Drew Brees last year, so you figured it'd be a good situation for him. So just hope it keeps going forward. Right.
Before we transition over to the NBA, we talked about Buccaneers Patriots. That's Sunday Night Football. Steelers Packers. I'm just going through some games that people might want to watch. Steelers Packers. That'll be on CBS. Well, CBS for me. I don't know if that'll be on for prime time for anybody in other parts of the country. That's definitely a game to check out if you got a Sunday ticket or red zone. I think Rams Cardinals will be good. 49ers Seahawks, we just talked about that division. That'll be a super fun game. And the 49ers really need to bounce back from that one. That's about it for me. I don't really have any. There's nothing else that really interests me that much.
Watch the New York football teams, and hopefully one of them can get a win.
It's gonna be tough. So when we last left you guys on the Ben Simmons Philadelphia 76ers saga, he said that he refused to meet with the Sixers. He was not reporting to training camp, and he would take whatever fines necessary until they got him traded. his teammates, people that this is reported, people that he even considered friends, were going to fly out to Los Angeles to speak with him about the situation, and he turned them away. He turned it. Joel Embiid was one of those people. I think Tobias Harris might have been one of the others going on the trip as well. Matisse Thybulle, and he turned them away. Said he did not want to speak to them. And then today, I believe it was, came out a report came out that he believes that the partnership with him and Joel Embiid has run its course. That is crazy to me that Ben Simmons is the one that's saying it, because Ben Simmons is the one that people are like, you got to move on from him because he's the one that's whose play isn't up to par of the two. Joel Embiid, the fact that Joel Embiid wasn't the one that come out to say it, like, I knew Ben Simmons, had a mouth on him. He could talk, but that's a little shocking to hear that one come from him. And we talked about it, through the messages when the whole thing about him not wanting to meet with the teammates came up. I guess it's just a situation where he's just being a prima donna. Like, it's, Doc. I don't even think Doc, when Doc was on ESPN talking about it, I don't think Doc really meant what he said. Like, I think Doc in the Sixers organization saw that, like, he's killing his trade value right now, and we got to do something to pick it back up. That's what was immediately popping up in my head. But I agree with what you said when we talk about it. Like, you just need to send him away.
It's pretty hard to set him away right now with everything he's doing. Like you said, he's acting like a prima donna, not a prima donna. Sorry, and I think I still don't even know what the guy's problem is. So I think that's something he needs to just come out and say what his problem is, and really he should have took the James Harden approach in the sense where you got to come to camp and do something. And the way you're acting out like that, like, think about what team would want to trade for him right now. So if you're like Sacramento, why would I give you De'Aaron Fox for someone that's acting like that right now? So now you're just letting people know when you don't like what's going on, this is what you're going to do. So I think he needs to kind of change his path. He needs to sit down, talk to them. He needs to go to camp. He needs to play, because that's the only way they're going to be able to trade him. If not, he's just going to be fined and lose games, because there's no win in this situation. Not unless I seen someone say today where it's like you wait and you let the season play out, maybe closer to the trade deadline. It's a team who realizes that their season's not going how it wants. Like, or there's some veterans out there on the market, and you try to trade them then for a team that's kind of panicking or ready to blow it up. But I think it'd be better for him to get traded faster. He comes to camp, he plays, and maybe does like James Harden does and goes in there James Harden did and goes in there every day and just makes it awkward every day until eventually they have to trade you. But no team is about to make a trade for you right now, and this is how you're acting.
Yeah, and when you think about it, like, he has no account. Like, he's a multiple time All Star defensive. Been the runner for Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's the best defender in the game right now. Honestly, he does everything well except shoot. We've said that before, but he has no accomplishments to be doing what he's doing. The reality of it is he's doing this because he's in his feelings. He's hurt. He's heard about what Doc said in the post game presser after they lost in the playoffs when he was asked, do you think Ben Simmons is a point guard on a championship team? And he said, I don't know. I think that he was very hurt by that. Like, I think he's in his feelings, and that's one of the reasons why he's doing that. I think that him and Joel Embiid's relationship is a little sour because Joel Embiid was taking, some subliminal shots at him in press conferences.
I mean, maybe, and all that being said, I still don't think this is the proper way to handle it at the end of the day.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
No, I agree. I agree with you.
You still have to be professional and different things like that. And I don't really know. It's an interesting situation to be in. I don't think they did nothing that bad to him where he kind of should be acting like this. Like I said, and if he really wants to be traded, he would have to go in there, maybe act like everything's fine, play well, and behind closed doors, get out of there.
Well, this is what people say when they say that the league got soft because, back in the day, like, you might not like the way what was said about you or like how a situation's going, but you come in, you take your lumps, and see if you can get traded by bringing it up behind closed doors. But you still come in and do what you got to do. Like, the Sixers are a championship contender still with Ben Simmons. Like, if I'm Ben Simmons, my goal is to prove you guys wrong. Like, I'm okay now. I'm gonna really work on my game. I'm going to come back and show you guys that we can win, and I'm gonna prove you everybody wrong as far as what you say about me as a player. And then after I do that, I still want you to trade me.
Exactly. So you would go in there and ball out, and that would higher up your trade value. But to me, it seems like he doesn't even want them to get anything for him. So it's like, I'm not about to go in here and play for you and up my trade value. And he had that comment where it's like, it's not his job to up his trade value. That's on them. So it seems like he's at the point where it's like, not only do I want out,
He wants to
but
spite him.
I don't want you guys to be good after I get out. So I don't want you guys to get nothing for me.
Yeah, he's trying to spite him, but they still have a good team regardless of what they get for him, so they're still going to be all right. You
Uh,
know,
it's not that big of a deal for him to be acting like that.
yeah, it's not. He's acting very sensitive right now. True, honestly. It was media day yesterday and today. There was a lot of interesting tidbits. Kay, I'll let you take this one. What were some of your favorite media day moments?
I guess obviously I didn't get to see a lot of media day things because I had to work media day myself. But obviously the Lakers media day yesterday was interesting just to see Rondo and Westbrook out there being all buddy buddy, cracking jokes together and stuff. You know how that ended in the bubble with those guys arguing. Obviously everything around the Lakers and their new team and different things like that. Kyrie Irving not going to his media day due to whatever he has going on. Same thing kind of with Andrew.
COVID, health protocols.
Yeah, same kind of with Andrew Wiggins and things like that. So I think obviously the Lakers were interesting. The Nets were interesting a little bit. But like I said, I didn't get to see a lot of media days because I was unfortunately working myself a media day.
What I thought was, and some of the things I thought was interesting was you brought up Andrew Wiggins. Steph Curry seemed like he was pretty fed up with that whole situation. They asked about the no vaccination thing with Andrew Wiggins, and Steph Curry's comment was at least to me anyway, it was pretty telling as far as he basically called him selfish.
Uh, in the times that we are in, I think it's a little selfish for him to call him selfish. Who knows what his reasons are, and maybe he knows what his reasons are. So I don't know. It's hard for us on the outside looking in, but who knows what Andrew Wiggins' reasons are? Obviously, some people's religions don't believe in different things like that, and some people just don't trust those type of things. So I wouldn't call him selfish, and I guess in this situation, it's hard not to. But also, he's getting forced to do something that he doesn't want to do. So at the end of the day, is it really selfish? I don't know, because he's willing to give up money. So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a tough situation right now, just with everything going on, to say that he is selfish. I kind of get what he's coming at and going at, but we don't know. At least I don't. I don't know Andrew Wiggins' life or why he's choosing to take the route that he's taking. And if he's willing to give up money, it has to be hopefully something serious. So I wouldn't call him selfish. I guess I wouldn't know what the word is right now, but selfish, I think it's a little selfish to say.
Right. I tell you one thing though that I really liked. The pictures was cool. That was another thing. Like the new Miami Big Three. Um, that was cool. Seeing Jimmy, Kyle Lowry, and Bam Adebayo in the photo shoot. That was really cool to see the Chicago Bulls Big Four. That was actually pretty dope too. I'm not gonna lie. I like that. But what really caught my attention was Russ and Rondo, like you said. They actually asked Rondo about like the relationship that they have right now as teammates, and I love it. Like he said, I'm trying to destroy. We go and practice every day, and I'm trying to destroy him, and he's trying to destroy me. I love it, man. Like I think that's what I mean, man. Having two guys like that is just going. I agree with Carmelo. We talked about it before. Carmelo Anthony's comments on the matter. I agree with those comments because of stuff like that. Like, how can you not get amped up playing with guys like that and just seeing how they're going at each other in practice?
Yeah, and there's six Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famers, 6 or 5. A lot of all stars over there. So I think those practices have to be very high competitive and different things like that. If you just think about the different lineups that can be put out there, there's Rondo versus Russ, there's Melo versus Braun, there's AD, Dwight, there's different. Like if you think about the starters and versus the bench, it seems like it could be a very interesting time, and it seems like a practice that maybe you would want to peek in on to see how it's going. And there's some high competitive guys out there, Braun, Melo. We've seen how Braun and Melo go at each other in games, so I'm pretty sure it's no different in practice than there's Rondo, Russ. So there's no difference. So I'm surprised they didn't have to pull some people off each other and tell them to relax.
Yeah, maybe they did, and they're just not telling us.
Possibly, I can see it happening, but they're all teammates now, so it probably won't get too crazy. But it definitely should be some high competitive games out there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let me think. Was there anything else that really caught my eye? I didn't see the Clippers. I didn't see the Clippers really do anything.
There was a
Don't
comment
know.
from Paul George about I think taking his game to another level this season that
Oh,
people
he's doing
thought
that again.
that
Doing
people
that again.
thought yeah.
Doing that again. You don't seem so enthusiastic this time around.
It's obviously the start of the season, and some people say he said, "Oh, after the playoffs he's ready to take his game to another level." Some people try to say, "Well, did we watch the same playoffs?" He played well in the playoffs, especially how it ended. Is he gonna take his game to another level? I don't know. He's not gonna be better than the MVP campaign he had that last year with the Thunder. So we'll see how it goes for them. I don't expect too
Was
much
it
from the
a biased
Clippers.
comment? Is that a biased comment?
Nah, nah, absolutely not. He was playing. He can't top that. He's not gonna top that. If he
He
tops
could.
that, then he'd have to win the MVP this year.
Yeah, you know. I don't know. Point Justice 2021. Maybe he can do for PG what Russ did for PG. But I digress.
Seems like a biased comment, but
No, it's not a biased comment. He's not. He doesn't play for my team.
it does mean you're not a fan of him still.
No, I think that he does. He as a facilitator, I think that he does some very good things.
Well, we're gonna see.
Well, he's not. He'll be like the de facto point guard because Kawhi's not going to be playing to start the season, so he'll be playing that forward in Kawhi's place. But we'll see what happens. It'll definitely be a fun one. Don't know if you probably didn't get to see the UFC fights on Saturday, right?
No, to be honest, I didn't
Great
know they
card,
were
man.
fights.
Great card. If any, I don't know who's still tuned in or who's watching, but great card, man. Uh, Brian Ortega and Alexander Volkanovski fight of the year candidate already. That fight was so entertaining. Big. I picked Ortega to win just because I had watched The Ultimate Fighter, the entire season of The Ultimate Fighter this year, and it just seemed like Ortega was really digging, getting in his head to kind of psych him out and stuff. It really seemed like he was really in his head, but it didn't really show super true. And it was a good fight. Like don't let the beat up face of Ortega fool you. That fight was insane. And when I say you got to give Volkanovski his props, Ortega locked up a triangle and he locked up like a triangle, not a rear naked. He locked up two chokes that were tight. And I have no idea how Volkanovski got out of those, but super big heart to him to be able to get out of them and then just go to work on Ortega after that. And then the other fights on that card were super entertaining as well. I want to give a shout out to Manny Pacquiao who retired today. That's generational talent in the sport of boxing. Long, great career, multiple championships. Big fan of his. Don't know if I could say there will ever be another. He kept it pushing for a super long time and was even fighting at a high level. Like I remember, when he fought Keith Thurman and what he did to Keith Thurman just had me in awe. Like how can he still do stuff like that at his age? So he's going on to do other things in his career, spend more time with the family. But just want to congratulate Manny Pacquiao and thank you for the many entertaining fights that you gave us over the years.
Same. I second everything you said. Yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about that. I think you hit the nail in the coffin right there. Shout out to him. Shout out to his retirement. Like you said, hell of a career.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one more thing before we do get out of here, man, it is official. Saturday, November 20th, ESPN Plus pay-per-view, Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter. It isn't Crawford versus Spence, but it's the next best thing. I've been wanting this fight to get because, Porter was his mandatory. I've been wanting to see this fight for a while. We saw how Sean Porter made things super interesting when he fought Earl Spence. We can make sleeper picks. I could see a scenario where Porter knocks off Terrence Crawford. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, man, but I am ready to be tuned into this fight. I'm super excited for this one.
Yeah, kind of the same. I can see him probably win the fight. I'll probably still pick Crawford, but it should be an interesting fight. Everyone should definitely tune in.
Yeah. And then Anthony Joshua lost on Saturday, too.
Oh, I did see that. Awesome. I've seen that.
Anthony Joshua lost to Usyk.
I brought up waiting for these fights could lessen the fights because someone could take a loss.
We were supposed to get the super fight at Wembley Stadium between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and it couldn't happen because Fury had to take the fight with my man from the Bomb Squad, which is coming up here pretty soon. That'll be another fight to check out. But now, the fight loses its luster because of that. But also, this isn't an Andy Ruiz situation. Like, I'm an Anthony Joshua fan, but I admit that he's a lot more of an athlete than he is a boxer. Now, I think he's better at boxing than, the Bronx Bomber is. But still, they're similar in that they're not the greatest boxers, and I think that Usyk is a different challenge for him. Like, I could see him losing that rematch.
Yeah, definitely. Did they say they're gonna have a rematch already?
Yeah, he had the clause, he had the rematch clause, and he said he's invoking it.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting. I kind of agree with most things you just said. I think he has a shot to win it, and hopefully he can come back and learn from his mistakes and win it. But dang, if he because if he loses again, it just lessens the fight even more. So if he wins the rematch, Wilder beats Fury.
Wilder is not beating Fury.
Do we go Wilder? Joshua now?
You gotta go Wilder Joshua, but Wilder is not beating Fury.
We don't know. Isn't Fury coming off COVID? Isn't he coming off COVID or no?
Tyson Fury?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not sure.
Isn't that why the fight got pushed back?
I might have.
Or someone in his camp had it.
Maybe. I'm not sure, but I just nah. He was like one of the people that was hitting me up after that. After he took Deontay Wilder to school. Pretty disappointed. I was actually watching that fight with Rashad. Rashad was dead quiet like after that first knockdown.
I think the fight's gonna be a lot different this time, so I think there's a chance. I guess if Wilder can get Fury, now all of them kind of have a loss, and it puts us back in the same circle. So now it's Fury, it's Wilder, Joshua, and the winner of that probably should take on Fury again. Though
I think Usyk's got his hat in the ring now, though. Because that was he won by unanimous decision, and it was like he looked good, moving up to heavyweight. Like I think he's a contender. He's a name amongst those guys now.
So Wilder beats Fury, he gets Joshua. If Joshua beats Usyk, and then Usyk fights Fury, and then the winner of those two fights end up fighting each other. That's the only way. That's the perfect way. That's the perfect way for it to work out.
All you boxing organizations, promoters, Kayson just solved every problem you've ever had.
That'll keep the happening all the fights, and now it creates It creates like a 4-way, whatever for whatever.
Yeah, we got it, man. We pay us.
It's
For
basically them
sure.
four to see who ends up. It's like a tournament between them four, is who ends up at the top.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, that is it, man. Speaking of media day,
Nothing, nothing interesting. I should have asked you. Hold up, nothing interesting from Magic Media Day. What's going
uh,
on? I saw Jonathan Isaac has some pretty interesting comments.
I did see that too. That's more COVID talk and things like that. I mean, I've been staring at media day footage all day today. So, I mean, someone from the Magic said that they believe they can surprise some people this year. Do I believe
I'm
it?
on board. I'm actually on board with that a little bit. I think that they're a playoff team.
No, I don't think so. I think they need to trade Gary Harris and maybe get a forward in there. They need to figure out what they're gonna do with
Gary
this.
Harris does, Gary Harris doesn't even fit on that team right now.
No, he doesn't.
It's way too guard heavy.
And he's one that you can a contending team will take him right now. So that's someone you can get. That's someone that has trade value right now. I'll trade him for like a forward or something, maybe some draft capital, and then figure out the rest of the guard situation. But Gary Harris is a guard where it's like he doesn't, like you say, he doesn't fit there at all. More of a veteran, should be on a contending team. I had to get him out of there as fast as possible.
Right on, man. K Song got the lowdown. He's just not sharing because he's being modest.
Ain't much to talk about with the Magic right now. So if they start surprising people like you say, then I'll have more to say.
Well, when you say surprise, like there's levels to this. Like I think that they're going to be a bottom tier playoff team, and that not that they will, but I could see it.
That's
I could see them as a bottom tier playoff team in the East.
that's
I
still
like the
surprising
I don't know.
people. I mean, I seen rumors that they're gonna sign J. Cole, so there's that.
You didn't get to play pickup with them?
Nah, I seen him, but I didn't get to. I had to work, unfortunately.
Heard, heard. Well, I guess that'll do it for this week, man.
Yeah, I think that's it, man. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in, man.